Getting there and getting there safely aren't the same thing.
Welcome to The Dog Who Asked for More, the podcast for dog parents navigating the messy, complicated parts of life with a dog. Here you'll gain confidence in your decisions, deepen your connection with your dog, and finally feel seen in something you've never been able to say out loud.
I'm Em, a dog mom and retired vet tech. And if you've ever wondered whether your dog is actually safe in the car, or you've found yourself leaving them behind because travel feels stressful, complicated, or uncertain, this episode is for you. For a long time, I didn't think much about travel safety. My dogs rode in the car. We got where we were going. And that was kind of the end of the conversation until I started realizing that getting there and getting there safely aren't necessarily the same thing. Today's conversation is with Reed from Ruffland Kennels. We talk about how Ruffland got started, why safety became such a big part of their mission, and how a kennel can become much more than a place for your dog to ride. Because sometimes the right setup doesn't just protect your dog. It gives them the freedom to come with you in the first place. Reed, can you tell me how Ruffland became Ruffland and what problem you were trying to solve?
The origin story of Ruffland is a little bit of that classic American dream and American problem solving and innovation. A couple guys, early 2000s, started a rotational mold company called Rotomold. Nothing to do with dogs or pets of any kind. It was more about the agriculture industry. The company was producing feed bunks for cattle, sprayer tanks that would go on the back of a fertilizer for your field, roping steers, random products like that were much more agricultural focused. And we still have some contracts to do that, but right now we're focused very, very heavily on dogs and cats and things like that. 2008, 2009 showed up, crazy time for every industry. Agriculture was no exception for that. Some of those orders started to dry up. So the guys said, hey, we need to have some kind of a product that we can generate our own demand for, that we can keep our machines busy, keep our employees gainfully employed. One of the owners happened to own a couple dogs, had a couple of the plastic screw together, two-piece cheap wing nut style kennels, and said, man, there's got to be a better way to do that. And we came out with our first edition kennel. It was the first high performance kennel at the time. And that's an interesting term. Now we don't really think anything of a performance kennel, but at the time it was funny language. You probably wouldn't hear those words used together very often because there wasn't any other product out there like that. Essentially, it was a story of right product, right place, right time, and a lot of hard work, ingenuity and innovation, and a commitment to experiment, which lives on today. We've made some pretty awesome enhancements to the design between then and now. Since then, it's been just a state of perpetual chaos trying to produce the world's best pet crate and all the awesome travel accessories that go along with it.
Well, you guys do such an amazing job, and you provide such a wide variety, as everyone who's watching can see, of colors here. So tell me a little bit about this molding. I bet a lot of people don't know what that even is.
Yes, great questions. A lot of people will ask, is this injection molded? And we say, no, it's actually rotational molded. So the difference there is that injection molding, you take a mold of some kind, a stencil or a blank of a product, and you inject a liquid resin inside of it. And then as that resin cures and hardens, it takes the shape of the mold that it's in. For us in the rotational molding process, what we do is we actually take a hard dry powder. It looks kind of like flour. We're going to measure that resin out. We're going to dump it into a mold, heat it up. The resin's going to liquefy, and that mold is going to be spinning. That's the rotational aspect of what we call rotational molding. So that mold is rotating. It's rotating on a vertical axis and a horizontal axis, 360 degrees throughout the entire process, from heating to baking to cooling, and the whole time it's rotating. That resin product is going to liquefy when it's being heated, and that liquid resin then, as it's rotating, is going to coat every nook and cranny inside of that mold. As long as we stay consistent with speeds and rotation and things like that, there's going to be a really nice, super consistent layer of liquid resin around the entire inside of that mold. And then we're going to continue rotating that as that mold cures. That liquid resin is then going to re-solidify. It's going to harden back up, and that's where you get single piece kennels like you see behind us, and the other products are made in the exact same fashion with the rotational molding. Yeah, we're really proud of the one-piece design. That's all possible thanks to that rotational molding technology.
Now, I know somebody's going to ask, because somebody's going to see this and they're going to see like the little line here. And I'm betting that that's because of where the piece is pressed together in the mold.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So the molds that we use are two-piece, and we do that so that we can keep the kennel one piece. When we put the molds together, they're going to bolt together, clamp together, and it's going to make one single piece. And that's where that resin is going to find every nook and cranny. So the two molds coming together do have a seam, and that's where you can see these kind of light little lines if you look really close. And if that bothers somebody, you can actually sand those off. We pull most of those off inside the factory through our quality control system. We've got a couple different stages that we look at all of that stuff, and we have an allowance for what's acceptable or what needs extra attention. But yeah, those really light little seams that you see, that's from where those two halves of the mold sit together.
And these are car crash tested. How does the one piece reinforce that safety feature?
It's really kind of shocking how many crash testimonials we get. We don't love to see that people get in accidents. It's a bittersweet thing that we get those. We get multiple a week typically. We've got thousands, probably real world accident scenarios where these things are crash tested and are saving the lives of pets. But not only that, they're actually saving the lives of the humans inside the vehicles as well. There's some really cool examples of photos where, because of the extra vertical support, the vertical rigidity that in the most extreme accidents where somebody's in a rollover ends up upside down or ends up on the side, it actually provides enough structural rigidity that it keeps the roof from collapsing on top of the humans. And we've got a handful of really good examples of that online. And candidly, we honestly don't show very many of those. Those are kind of traumatic experiences for the individuals involved. We always do our best to ask, like, hey, so sad that this happened to you, but this is a really good example, a good testament to how our product works. Are you comfortable with us sharing this on social media or in a newsletter or in an email, something like that? But many people don't want that shared, and we try to honor that. Something that's probably worth pointing out in that regard is the way the material that we choose to use works, the way the kennels are designed. There's probably a little bit of confusion around the crash testing side of things. For instance, if you watch how some of these crash tests are done, there might be like a giant boulder or something that falls on top of an unobstructed kennel. And that's an interesting way to test a kennel. Unless you're traveling in a mountainous area where there's the risk of falling rocks, it's probably not a great real world application. But we always tell people, I don't particularly care if my kennel survives your crash. I want your dog to survive your crash. I want the people inside that car to survive your crash. A lot of insurance companies are terrific about working with you if you have a kennel. If you have it documented, if you have photos, for example, like, hey, this is the kennel setup, this is the size, this is the brand. They've been really good. We've heard a lot of success stories lately of people like, oh yeah, I got into an accident and my insurance company covered the purchase of new kennels, which is great, or at least partially funded that, which is awesome. Actually, a really good example of that happened just a couple of weeks ago. A gal sent us photos. She was so pumped. She got her kennel set up perfect. She had all the sizes right, all the colors, kitted the whole thing out with the top trays and the color doors and the clicks. 2 days later, she gets into a rollover accident and sends us a photo of her car. Literally, you see the bottom of her car sitting on its side. Her insurance was really good to work with and helped her replace those kennels. Fortunately, there were no dogs in the car at the time, but if you saw the images, you would know without a doubt in your mind that those kennels were the most unscathed part of the accident. So really cool examples of how this stuff works. But the other thing about it too is, again, the material chosen, it's actually inspired by NASCAR, which is kind of a weird technical thing, but there's elements of this that are designed to be more structurally rigid. And there are elements of this that are designed to have a little bit more flex and a little bit more give. And that's very much on purpose. It's very much by design. If you were to sit on either side and squeeze, you would see that there's a little bit of flex and give in the middle of that kennel. Now, if you did that at the corners, it's like knocking on wood, right? Or concrete. It's very structural. But that kennel on the side and on the tops and bottoms is going to have very specific, very intentional properties that are going to have some flex and some give. And that's just, again, soften the blow if you do have to come to a sudden stop, or if there is a big bump, or if you get rear-ended. Again, I'm much more concerned about what's inside the kennel than I am about scratched or dented. There's actually really cool ways that might be worth talking about on how to fix some of that too, because of the process that's used to make these. You can actually heat these up. You can set them in the sun, and if they get a dent in them, take a hair dryer to it. It sits in a really hot car in southern Arizona. It's 110 degrees and it starts to warp. That's not a fault. That's kind of by design.
That's really interesting. How long have you been with Ruffland? And what has surprised you the most about what has changed since you've been?
Oh, that's an excellent question. My story here at Ruffland is a fun one. I started probably about 2 years ago, really at what I would say was a kind of a pivotal moment for the organization, where we were stepping into a stage of maturity that required a little bit more involvement, more experience from the leadership team, more experience from just other high growth organizations, scaling out processes, procedures, those types of things, the boring stuff that happens inside the company. But my time started about 2 years ago. The biggest change since then has been pretty much every change. We have a lot of new employees. We're on the tail end of our third consecutive year on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America list. With that kind of growth comes a lot of change. And that involves staff, that involves machinery, tooling, all of those things. I would say the biggest change, though, has been an unseen new commitment. Not only are we going to embrace change, we're going to encourage it. We have to figure out a way to do things differently. We know that when we have products that are as popular as this, that we need to level up our quality control. We need to level up our production throughput in the factory. We got a lot of different roles that hadn't been required in the past. A lot of new machinery and equipment. And we used to hand drill all the vent holes on the side of these things. And now we've got some really cool tech, like the robots that can drill these out in a matter of seconds and make sure that they're precise every single time and they're the exact same shape every single time. So again, just leveling up in really every area, but that commitment to be like, hey, we know what got us to this point probably isn't going to be what gets us to the next point. That's not going to be what allows us to see an increased demand and keep wait times low or delivery times low. I don't know that I could point to one specific change other than the fact that the only constant thing happening here over the last 18 to 24 months has been change, and it's been awesome. But we've got a great team.
The show is called The Dog Who Asked for More. So a business that asks for more is going to produce a better product for dogs who need
Absolutely.
more. When business owners and producers are curious about how they can make the customer experience better and
Right.
provide better spaces for dogs to exist in. So
Yeah.
that's something that I love about Ruffland.
Absolutely. No, it's a great partnership. It fits really well. That's kind of our whole thing, honestly. It's just been a perpetual quest to continue to do that. And not only from a functionality standpoint, but I like to say we put the fun in functionality because these things are fun. The color combinations, the accessories, it's fun. We've got new products like the mini kennel here over your head and over mine, a massive market with cats, small, ultra small breeding dogs, birds. In one of the hallways we have in our office area, there's a wall of photos of just all these different animals, everything from sea lions to grizzly bears, you name it, that have been inside of our kennels for animal rescues or even just people having as pets. It's wild what we get sent through social media or via email. We absolutely want to see that. Like, we're not biased. We think every dog deserves to ride safely, and we think every owner deserves to show off a little bit of style and personality. It's safety, it's style, and convenience and efficiency. So much of the product works so well together. Like this fire engine red chow box we have behind us is a textbook example. I don't know how many times I was driving with my dog and I've got bags of kibble spilling in the back seat of my car. I have a lab, and most dogs are like this too, but labs certainly, there's never a meal that they don't want, right? So if they have access to an open bag of food, they're going to take it. With one or two dogs, that's a week or more of food. You can go to the lake for the weekend. Or if you're going on vacation, bring your food in a very simple, very hearty box, or you can set it in the kennel with the dog at all times. You're not worried about them getting into it. I can load up my dog to go to the lake faster than I've been load up myself and my kids. Like truly, it's like the kennel's typically in the car or the truck, grab a chow box with food, grab a water hole. I've got water for the trip. And that is the slickest way. That dog is loaded and ready. And Penny loves going in her kennel. That dog is loaded in 2 minutes. And that's not an exaggeration. I wish I could get my kids ready. It's safety, it's style, but it's efficiency, it's economics. I don't want traveling with my dog to be a burden. I want it to be fun. I want it to be easy. So it's great for the pets, but it's also great for their handlers and their humans too.
100%. While we're on the topic of fun,
Yeah.
tell me your favorite thing about working at Ruffland and your favorite
Ooh.
product.
Favorite product's gonna be like choosing a favorite kid. My favorite thing about working at Ruffland is at the end of the day, people don't typically get dogs expecting their lives to get worse. We just love pets. Cats are the same, birds are the same, whatever your pet preference is. We obviously love dogs around here. We've seen a handful of office shop dogs today already, but life in general is meant to be more fun, more enjoyable with pets involved. And so when you can work in a place that allows for that to be like the daily thing, it makes it really, really cool. I am a big outdoorsman. Being in South Dakota, I enjoy pheasant hunting. It's kind of one of our biggest actually economic drivers in South Dakota. It is hunting. So I love to hunt with my bird dog. There is nothing she loves more in the world than just bouncing through the prairie grass out in flat South Dakota. And it's not for everybody, but man, she loves it. I love it. And the fact that I get to work in a place where my passion intersects with my profession is such a magical thing. It's a really, really cool, unique, special thing. So that's easily my favorite part of working here. My favorite product, that's going to be such a hard, I'll give you a couple. The water hole is like our OG accessory. Once you have a water hole, you have 6 water holes. Like it's just how it works, right? Because you know you don't have bowls that are spilling or they're running out all the time. It's super easy to travel with. If you're not familiar with it, you put a gallon of water in that thing, tip it on its back as you're traveling, and that makes it super easy to travel with. So that's an awesome product. It's less than $50 to get your hands on a water hose. The chow box, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of mine at home, not only for travel, but just at the home. We live on a farm. I got the dog, I've got cats. I want to keep that food separate. So I've got multiple chow boxes. Nobody's getting into anyone else's food, getting free snacks, that type of a thing. It's an ultra simple way to keep organized. It's a super easy way to travel. I can grab one of each of those products. Penny's jumping in the kennel and I'm loaded. We're going anywhere and we have it set for like a week. Maybe not on the water side. Obviously, we'll have to refill that. But then you have products like the water topper right here behind me. This is a super underrated product. This is a similar functionality as the top tray. Top tray is a great organization tool. If you made me narrow down to like a top 3, the top tray is in it. Top tray is so inexpensive. And for the functionality and organization that you get, having that on top of your topper for $35 or whatever it costs is so unbelievably reasonable. We'll see people use that to carry groceries, organize leashes and treats and collars and other pet related toys, anything like that. The water topper has the same kind of hollow center, but it's a double walled water container as well. This actually holds 9 gallons of water. So whether you are using that to wash your hands after you've been at the beach, clean off the sand off your kids' feet, or rinse your dog after they were in the water, you can use that to clean silverware if you're having a picnic, or if you're like me and you're going to go hunting and you're going to clean a pheasant so that you can eat it later for supper. That's a great way to keep things clean. Again, you can have all the organization in the inside compartment of that. Super awesome, underrated product. Others that I'm a big fan of, I love our Clean Cut product. And if you're in the pet space, this might be a lesser known product for you. We have a product called the Clean Cut. This is what I would call a high performance cutting board. So the Clean Cut is a really neat product. It's made by the exact same material, exact same process of the kennels and our other rotational molded product, but it's a molded and shaped cutting board that you can use in your kitchen, you can use at the campsite, you can use at the lake, you can use on the tailgate of your pickup or wherever. It's got all these really cool compartments, whether it's strawberries or vegetables that you're cutting up for a charcuterie board that you're setting around in all these different compartments, or you're filleting up a fish to fry or something like that, whatever it might be. It's a super, super cool product. It's very underrated. It's very inexpensive and I love it. I don't honestly know how many I have. We use them in the kitchen all the time, cutting up fruit, veggies for the kids, whatever it might be. If we're hosting, we're making a charcuterie board out of it. Campers, if you are at all into camping, tenting, RV, overlanding, whatever it might be, without a doubt in my mind, I'm biased, but it makes no sense for you not to have a Clean Cut. These things are so cool and you can get them in any color you want, just like you can get our other products. They come in 2 sizes. There's a 32-inch, which is quite large, and there's a 22-inch smaller version that's super easy to transport. Fun fact about those that I love to tell people is they actually work just as well upside down as they do right side up. So I like to smoke pulled pork and I can turn this thing upside down and it basically becomes a bowl. So I can shred my pork in there, all the juices, all the flavor stays right inside that. It's a super awesome product. And then, like I said, you just take a hose to it, dish soap, whatever, take a hose, take it to the car wash and rinse it off with a pressure wash. Doesn't matter. You can clean these things with anything. So that's a super fun product. Another lesser known product in the same vein that I'm a big fan of is our rod pod. So this is another product that if you're in the pet space only, you might not have heard of this one, but it was originally designed as a way to organize and store fishing poles. It's the shape of a bobber. Again, same material, same manufacturing process, any color you want. Set it in the corner of your garage. We like to use it on the pontoon boat. We got a bunch of kids that always want to take fishing poles, but of course, fishing only lasts 5 minutes if you're not catching anything. And rather than laying on the floor or being strewn everywhere with hooks, it's a super easy thing to set in the corner and it'll hold 9 fishing poles. As soon as we're done on the boat, we take it off, we set it by the campfire and we stick our weenie roasting sticks or our marshmallow roasting sticks in there. People use it for holding pool cues. So it's a super awesome product. It's just not that well known. It's incredibly underrated and more people should know about it because it's really terrific.
I like all the versatility that you're bringing up here. I definitely am going to have to get a cutting board now for when we get the RV. I'm super excited because we do have a water topper in our order. And honestly, I'll tell you why I got it.
Yeah.
Because I have talked to a lot of people who travel in RVs and do the whole travel life thing that we're about to embark on hopefully this year.
Awesome.
And the reason I got it is because I was told that like switching your dog's water state to state, it can be hard on their stomach.
Sure, that makes
they can get
sense.
parasites, all kinds of things like that. So if I can take 9 gallons of home water before I have to start buying gallons of water at the grocery store, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was such a genius idea.
Yeah. And it fits really well on the kennel. Add some storage built in on the top. I'm sure you'll have a ton of use for it.
Really excited to get everything. In addition to the conversation that we had earlier about the crash testing and the crazy stories that you get from that. Tell me the most incredible story that you've heard involving a Ruffland product?
That could take a number of different facets and angles too. I'll tell you a couple. We've got a photo. It is on our website, but there's a couple accidents that the photos are actually kind of hard to look at. And you look through and you see a car that is not recognizable. You couldn't even tell what brand it is because it's so mangled. And then in the very center of it, the roof is still up, sides are crushed in, every window is broken, but you see the perfect shape of a kennel inside there. And there's a dog looking back at you. It's like, what's up? What was that? What just happened? Like, let's get out of here. Those stories are just remarkable. I love the rescue angles. So we do support a lot of rescues. I wish we could say yes to every request that comes in for donation or sponsorships. We support a handful of rescues and nonprofit organizations, some sea life rescues, wolf sanctuaries, lots of Department of Natural Resources or Game and Fish. Military and law enforcement is a huge aspect for us because they obviously travel with dogs that are going through tragic accidents, trying to find people out of rubble sites or bomb sniffing dogs or drug sniffing dogs, whatever it might be. We love to support those agencies. It's just such a cool, wild thing to talk about, that you have products that are well trusted by the people with the highest standards, that you've got highly trained dogs that are very mission focused and trained for very specific things, that they trust our products to do what they do. And I love that. And I love the fact that it's also super attainable. If you're not somebody like that and you're just bringing your dog to dog daycare, or if you're just going to the vacation home for the weekend, or if you're just going on an adventure, every pet deserves to travel safely and in style. So we love that it kind of covers all those facets. This isn't necessarily a specific story, but one of my favorite things is just when I feel like I've seen every possible color combination or vehicle configuration and setup, somebody sent us a photo that's like, I have never thought of that. And that is so creative. It's so ingenious. 2 days ago, just this week, I got sent a photo of somebody that made a complete trailer setup, decked out with Rufflands. They had door configurations set up so they had dogs getting in and out of every compartment. Got people that'll use like the drawer slide systems on pickups. There's been a couple of these, even just recently, that are so cool. They'll get a double door front and back, extra large kennel, and they'll get 3 of them, but they have 6 small dogs. They put a divider. We sell our divider product, which is a super easy to use product, very economical as well. Put that in the very center of the kennel. That kennel now becomes 2 kennels accessible from either side. That drawer slide pulls out of the back of their pickup. They got 6 dogs hopping out of every side. It's like, that is the coolest. I don't have 6 dogs and I want that. So the creativity that people have and the way that they use our products is so neat, and we love it. And that's honestly how the best products, that some of our products are designed, is from user feedback. Like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. Can you help me out? SUV slamback is something we haven't even talked about. Our large and our extra large come with a slamback version. So if you're the type that's driving an Explorer, a Suburban, or any SUV that has a back row, and you don't want to fold down that back row of seats so that your kennel sits nice and flush, we actually make a version that has a slanted back. So you get to keep those seats upright. You get to keep all those spaces for people to sit, and your dog comes in and has just as much room as they would otherwise. Getting feedback from customers. That's maybe not a specific story of something incredible that happens, but that's more like a day-to-day incredible story. We get so many neat things like that. That stuff is its own version of incredible, and that happens on the daily.
I love that though. And that goes back to the ingenuity and the curiosity and really providing what people love and want. Because for a long time, the original kennels, everybody knows you can buy them at PetSmart. They screw together. They're brown. They have a metal front door. They're not fun and they're cheap. And I've seen them break. Being in the veterinary world for as long as I was, I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody bring a dog in that's stuck in it or that's broken it in half. And now their head's stuck out the side window. It's all kinds of things that you see with those things. And I've never ever seen something like that happen to one of your kennels.
We're trying to make them pretty durable.
It's wild, but I love that you guys have so much positivity and so many good feedbacks and just so many incredible stories. Because how else would you just fuel your passion for a kennel daily without inspiration like that? That's so cool. Before we wrap up, we're going to pause for something I call answering the ask. This is a moment where we shift out of trying to fix things and shift into understand what's actually going on.
Okay.
Because a lot of the time, the hardest part isn't doing more, it's realizing what actually matters. Can you walk me through a moment where a dog's safety changed the way someone thought about traveling, creating, or living with their dog, and what changed once they understood?
That's a really good question. I'll give a couple examples that are, I would say, not very uncommon for us. They happen fairly frequently. sadly, we'll get calls after someone has been in an accident. I've never even thought about crating my dog. So my dog's been injured, or maybe we survived, but my dog took off. That's a sad but all too common instance where windows break out, doors fly open, dog has a trauma response just like a human does, and they're gone. They bolt, and it might take a couple days for somebody to find that pet. And it's kind of that wake up call that a lot of people get. And we certainly don't love to chase ambulances, but it is encouraging when people say, this dog means so much to me, this pet means so much to me. Why have I not considered their safety? I put on my seatbelt every time I drive. Why is my dog just bouncing around in the vehicle? That happens fairly frequently. Other examples that might happen would be when people shift their perspective from seeing a crate or a kennel as a disciplinary tool as it is a life-giving tool or a freedom-giving tool, really. So we don't, and obviously everybody's preferences and use cases are different, but you can't look at a lime green or lilac kennel and feel like, well, that's something really bad. It's meant to be a positive space. It's meant to be a positive experience for both the pets and their pets' handlers. This is like a bedroom. This should be related to positive, exciting, encouraging feelings for both the human and their pets. We see a lot of people that once they wrap their head around that, they go from not crating their pet anywhere to having crates in the vehicle and a crate in home to make that safe space and become a reality for that pet. Again, we're not talking specifically about dogs necessarily or only dogs, but dogs, give them their space, just like you like your bedroom or your kitchen or your favorite place now. Give them their space that can be theirs. Make it comfortable, make it fun, but associate that with such really good things, and life changes for the better for both the handlers and the pets. That happens a lot when we see people making that shift from affiliating it with negative feelings to more positive feelings is a really big one. We love to see that. And then once their eyes are open to that aspect, then it's like, I can have all sorts of fun with this thing. And I can change the color of the door or the handle or accessories. And then my life gets super easy and my car stays cleaner because my dog's hair is going into this place that I can just rinse out later or whatever. So you see that shift happen, and that's just super exciting to be a part of.
I'm going to share a little bit of personal story here because this whole situation, getting our kennels and getting them installed in the vehicle this week, it's going to change the trajectory of everything that I do with my dogs because he's at the Airbnb right now. He's in a kennel there. He's used to being in a kennel when I'm gone because I have a smaller dog named Toby who's 15. He was badly abused before I rescued him, and he was kept in a kennel for a long time, and kennels have always been kind of scary to him because of that confinement. But when we're driving around town, Toby likes to sit in my lap, and that's fine when we're driving around town getting a pup cup. It's not a big deal if it's just a short little trip kind of thing. But Toby stayed home when we came here to visit you from Iowa to South Dakota because it's a 6-hour car drive. And it is not safe for him to sit in my lap for 6 hours while I'm trying to drive in traffic. It's just not. And Fitz was not in a kennel, because we don't have a car kennel right now. So that's going to change for him. He's a little restless in the car. It takes him about 2 hours to wind down, lay down in the back seat and chill out. But I know what will happen when I put him in a kennel. He's going to lay down. He's going to go to sleep just like he is right now at the Airbnb. For Toby, he'll be able to come with us next time. So that's focus, that mentality of you can bring your dogs with you now. It's safe for everybody now versus having to do what we're doing, splitting everybody up, taking time away, especially from a 15-year-old dog with a heart condition that doesn't have a lot of time left. I want to be able to provide that safety for him so that he can enjoy the trips as much as Fitz does. It's definitely a huge perspective shift, I think, for a lot of people, but it really does give you the ability to bring that joy into your pet's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, such a cool thing.
Absolutely. So you're hitting the nail on the head. It's about fun, but it's also about safety. And the thing to remember in situations like that too is even if you're the world's best driver, it doesn't change the fact that somebody in front of you might be on their cell phone and you're going to have to stop quick. And suddenly that little dog becomes a projectile, whether they're in the backseat flying forward, or if you get rear-ended and they're flying backward, it can be a really dangerous thing, not just for the dog, but for the people involved as well.
I went down to Savannah for a wedding last December, and Fitz and I drove 16 hours, and I was nervous the whole time. And that was when I went, okay, something's got to change. Yeah. And so we've made moves to make that happen. And so we really appreciate being in the Ruffland family because you guys are keeping my dog safe. And that is the most important thing to me.
Love to hear it.
If the person listening has struggled with putting their dog in a kennel, doesn't understand car safety, or just has mixed emotions about kennel and car travel in general, What would you want them to think about or sit with after this conversation?
I would point out a couple of things that I touched on briefly earlier. I would say at the core, a dog is a den creature. Giving a dog a space that's uniquely theirs, that can be their den. They have access through vent holes. They can see, they can smell. They're not completely removed from the home. But the best thing for a dog to have a dedicated space and be able to have and truly treat like a den, like their bedroom. Most dogs relate getting in a car, going for a ride, for all these really fun things. Go new places, smell new things, see new things, all the fun stuff. So most dogs are really excited to pop on their kennel. Our socials are full of it too. When people open the door and the dog is blasting in there, just super jacked and pumped to go to the dog park or go to grandpa grandma's or go wherever they're going. They just know that they're going to have fun going on a ride and go somewhere and have an adventure when they get in that kennel. It's a really great thing from a mental health standpoint for that dog just to wrap their head around stability and structure, comfort, have a space that's theirs. And then for the handlers too, just the peace of mind that comes from knowing that if something were to happen, very best chance at surviving and not being injured. And I don't have to do that with a bland product. I don't have to do that with something that's boring and only comes in one color or one size or one shape. And I can kit it out. I have an accessory that I can do all the fun things, really make my own custom version of that ultimate travel system, whatever that looks like. The benefits of having a really high quality crate and accessories is going to outweigh this misaligned negative attributes that you attach to kind of that idea of like, oh, my dog's in a jail cell or something. I promise you, they don't think of it like that. So unless they're abused or mistreated or it's used as a disciplinary punishment tool, with most things with pets, handlers and trainers have to know the signals and the language that they're communicating to their pet with that. So if you make this a negative thing, a dog's going to view it negatively. But if you make it positive, that's going to be one of your dog's favorite places to be.
Exactly. And how can you make something that can show your dog's personality and keep them safe at the same
Absolutely.
time a negative experience?
Yeah, no kidding. I think it's great.
Tell everybody how they can get their Ruffland kennel, how they can connect with your business, how they can submit their own crazy photos to you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. This is all good. So I love this whole conversation. So Ruffland, you can get any of our products one of three ways. We work with an international set of dealers. There's local dealers all over the world, and that list continues to grow. You can go to our website, rufflandkennels.com. There's a dealer locator page, and you can just search your area. You can navigate the map and figure out who the local dealers are in your area. You can transact right there on the website. You can add a kennel to your cart. You can add the doors you want, accessories, whatever you want. Transact right there on the website and we'll ship it to your door. It'll show up right on your front doorstep. Probably one thing worth highlighting is through our website, we do offer payment plans. I think they can be up to 4 payments if you want to kit out your whole system and separate that over a few months to make that a little bit more tolerable. You can do that right through our website. And again, that'll show up right on your front doorstep.
Give everybody a realistic time view of customizing a kennel through your website.
Right now, it's hovering around 6 to 8 weeks. Ideally, we'd love to see that a lot closer to like 1 to 2 weeks, like just so we're all clear. Like that's what we're aiming for. We don't want you to have to wait that long for products. We have a large network also of your bigger box retailers. Product count is probably going to be a little bit smaller there, but if you aren't as particular of what color it might be or the door configuration, you can pop into a large number of nationwide retailers that are going to have a few kennel sizes, a few options for door configurations, maybe a couple of the accessories to start your system there. It's really good with dealers is they'll do things like they'll take pre-orders. They might be trying to take a truckload shipment, but if you know that you want an intermediate left side entry kennel, you can talk to them and be like, hey, whenever Malibu comes up next, just count me in, and they'll pre-order that.
So if you want a kennel and you're in a hurry, find a dealer that you can go to.
Absolutely. Yeah, truly. We love our dealer network so much. We could not do what we do without our local dealer network. You can find us on social media, Ruffland Kennels, search us on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. Find us on there, interact with us, follow us. We love the interaction there. My only request there is make sure that if you're interacting with us on social media, make sure it's actually us. Most of the channels now, we are verified. Don't interact with somebody that's trying to sell you a kennel, even if they seem legitimate. We've had a crazy amount of spam accounts taking our customers for granted. Make sure that you're interacting with our official page. We would encourage you to call, make sure that you're talking with somebody from the store, the dealer, or from us, and we can verify that too. If you call into our customer care accounts, make sure you're actually talking with a reputable dealer. Another fun fact, our email newsletter is where we drop news first all the time. So if you're not on our email newsletter, just know that other people are finding out about color drops or new products before you. So I can't encourage you enough. Go sign up for our email newsletter. We are not the type that's going to spam you and overwhelm your inbox with a daily or even weekly email. Those are some good ways to get a hold of us, get in touch, and stay in contact.
One thing I kept coming back to during this conversation is how often we think about travel safety until something makes us stop and look at it differently. For a lot of us, the goal is just getting there. The park, the campground, the family vacation, the weekend away. And when everything goes smoothly, it's easy to assume that's enough. But as Reed shared in this conversation, safety isn't just about preparing for the worst. It's about creating a setup that lets your dog travel comfortably, confidently, and as part of your life. Because sometimes the things that keep our dogs the safest are also the things that make more adventures possible. If you'd like to learn more about Ruffland, see the new product releases or early color drops, and some of the incredible customer stories Reed talked about today, make sure you're signed up for the Ruffland newsletter. I've linked it for you in the show notes. So be kind, spread joy, and remember, getting there and getting there safely are not the same thing.